Hi there, welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to paint a juicy summer peach. So let's get started. You want to start with your reference photo here. And to make the peach, we're going to sketch it out. It's just going to be a very simple circle. And I'm not going to copy the reference photo exactly. I want it to be a little bit more of a plump, bottom heavy type of peach. So you have the circle and then you have the crack of the peach. And then you have the center, which is like an indented, it's almost like a cone shape. And then you have the stem that's in the center. And if you wanted to, you could add a leaf to that stem. Could do that. And just note that we're working on a toned paper here, so you could use white if you wanted to. And let's add the darker values first. And I want this to be a loose type of painting. And to make a loose style, you want to use larger brushes. So I'm going to start with a size 9 flat brush, which is fairly large considering the shape that we have, or the size of the peach. So let's mix up the darkest value and place that in. So get your brush wet. And I also want to work with complementary colors in this lesson. And the peach is yellow and red and orange. And if you look at the color wheel here and you want to look over to the opposite of orange, it's a blue, green, turquoise shade. So what we can do is we can try to use that color for some of the shadows. So let's see how that looks. So you can take some turquoise, and then if we wanted to make a shadow shade, we can add the opposite of the turquoise, that orangey color. So let's take some of this orange that we already had on our palette, and if we mix that up, let's see what kind of a shade we have, and put that as our darker values. So let's put that here underneath the peach. You can see it's a pretty teal brownish shade. So that's going to just add some excitement and some dimension to the piece. And it's not going to be, it just makes the colors a little bit brighter and they enhance each other rather than using like a black for a shadow or gray or just a brown. So you can always think about your complementary colors and try to use those for shadows. And then just look at the reference. We have some shadow over on this side. And this we could put, so I'm just looking around and seeing where some of these shadows are, and I might want to put this color in other parts of the peach as well so that it has some more harmony. Whenever you're doing a painting or you have a color, you want to put that throughout the piece and not just in one section. And I could use this shadow for the leaf as well. So looking at where the darker parts of the leaf are, I can put that in. Okay, so that looks good. So now let's put in, I like to do an underpainting, and I see there's a lot of yellow in the peach. So let's put some yellow as an underpainting. And you can just pop that yellow in where you see it. And the yellow is kind of mixing with the green. That's okay because with acrylic, it's opaque and we're going to work in layers. And again, we have this large brush, so it's really helping us make beautiful, bold strokes. And this, in between the crevice here, it is pretty light. And then around this part, it's light, but it's also has some darker shadows as well. So we might have to go back and put that in. And let's put a little bit of yellow on the leaf. So if you notice that shadow around the pit where the stem is, we can make some more of that shadow color. So we'll just take that teal mix it with a little bit of our orangey red, and then place that around where that shadow is. It's almost making a square shape. Okay, so that looks good. And we'd kind of want that to dry a little bit before we move on. And acrylic dries quickly, so that's advantageous to us. And you can think about the shadow at this point as well, the cast shadow. What color do you want that to be? And let's make kind of a wash of teal and try to make a little bit of a shadow there for the peach. And just really watered down so it's very light, and it's darker at the base and then it gets lighter as it goes out. So you can go back and maybe add more of a darker tone, add that shadow, that teal shadow shade that we mixed up, and put that on the bottom. Okay, so I think that looks good. So at this point, let's move to another color. So let's move to an orange shade, which is a nice mid-tone. And we can take this orangey red that we have here, just like a primary bright red. And let's put that in where we see it as a mid-tone from looking at the reference photo. Strong over here. And think about the direction of your brush strokes, because we're using a large brush and our strokes are showing. So we want to put our brush strokes in the direction of form. And just kind of cover up where that yellow was, but you still want some of it to show through. And then in the middle here, it's very orangey. It's a light orange, so let's just put some of that reddish orange in there. Okay. And this can go fairly fast when you're using a larger brush. And it's just fun. Sometimes if you like to paint with a lot of detail, sometimes it's fun to switch it up and move to larger brushes and just try that different style. Okay. And then step back, see how it's looking. Okay, I might want to blend a little bit more orange in over some of those darker parts, just so it looks a little more cohesive. Okay, so now let's see. Now we can go back and add maybe some of those yellows back in, and I could switch to a smaller brush. So go ahead and grab a smaller, like a size 5 or a size 6 flat brush. And then let's put some of that yellow back in. Let's try some of this yellow that's pretty bright. It's like a neon yellow color. And let's put that in right here. See how it shows up. Looks like it's pretty transparent and it's not going to show up as much as we'd like. So we'll switch back to this other primary yellow. And just try to bring back some of those yellow marks. Again, we're having a little bit of a trouble getting it as bright as we want. Then let's pop some yellow back in here and over here. In the middle, we could make, at this point, let's make a little stem in the middle. And you can use your flat brush for this. And decide what color you want the stem to be. Maybe you want it to be brown, maybe you want it to be teal, or maybe you want to mix a brown with a teal. and make that stem. So for this stem, just go on the side of your flat brush and put starting in the middle, and then just kind of make a little stem shape using kind of putting small rectangles together with the side of your brush. Okay, and that didn't show up too bright, so at this point that's because my paint is kind of wet, so I do need to be patient and let some of that dry before I add some of those other details. And then we can go back into the stem and put some like a mid-tone green in there. Could go around the edges and just add a little bit more definition for that green stem. Okay, I think that looks good. So at this point, let's see if this neon yellow will come up as a highlight. So here you're putting the paint on pretty thick. And again, it's transparent, but we're just looking for a fun highlight and a fun burst of color. Okay, so at this point, let's add some of these your lightest lights, your highlight colors. So for that, we can grab a pale purple, a nice lavender, mix it with some white. And this makes a beautiful highlight. Instead of using pure white, try using a lavender, a very light violet mixed with white. And you can see there's some highlight right here. There's some highlight right here. And again, we're going in the direction of form so that we can emphasize the round shape of the peach. And just go around and add some of that highlight around the rim. You can see how that makes it look a little more three-dimensional. Then you can do some blending if you'd like to blend things in. There's a kind of a highlight right here and right there. Okay, so at this point you're probably finished. You could go ahead and add some more color, add some more detail, whatever you would like. I would probably go in with some of this dark Van Dyke brown and try to make this stem more prominent now that it's had a little bit of time to dry. And I would probably go back and add a little more detail to that as well. And then, yeah, I think that's a good start. That's a very kind of a loose, fun peach. You can see it really didn't take too long, and it's a great way to practice your loose painting and to use your larger brushes. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you give this a try this summer, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.